All right, so I thought I'd make a quick video for somebody who's having a problem with their ignition cylinder lock. This is, of course, the actual ignition that goes underneath the dash. You can see here that the end of the unit is this kind of weird pivoting piece, 90-degree elbow piece that has your actual steering lock. This is the actual blade right here that is spring-loaded, and it drops into a slot on your steering shaft. And that's what actually locks the wheel to the steering shaft. So the way this works is actually kind of complicated. What you have is, well, you have your elbow piece, then you have a kind of a black plastic cylindrical element that houses the ignition switch. The ignition switch just kind of sits in here. And then this is the actual tumbler up here, and there's some other parts here that have to do with just kind of like a transmission that goes through this thing that transmits mechanical motion all the way through. Basically, when you put the key in and you turn the key, if you go into position number 1, it's kind of hard to do here, but let me hold it differently. Oops. Sorry about this. It's just difficult to show this with just one hand. Just prop the camera up here. Okay, so if I turn the key, you'll notice here that the steering lock just retracted. So even if you're in say you're in position 0, the metal tab, the metal locking plate should be extended. If you go into position 1, you'll watch right here. See how it just disappeared? It just went right back in there, and then it doesn't matter what the other positions are. It's already out of the way. Now, when you go to turn the key and remove it, since this thing does not have over here on the other side, this is actually a port where a cable goes that actually goes down to, is linked to when you put the transmission into park. So when the transmission is in park, and this thing here, there's a little arm in here that's depressed, you'll hear it click there. That means that we can take the key out of the ignition, and that's when you'll watch here that the lock actually engages. So as soon as I pull it and then pull it out, bam, see, it just locked in place. Now, what could be some of the problems? The basic problem is that you could have, this one is already showing some signs of it. You see how this housing here is cracked. If this gets cracked up enough, and I've seen some that are split really badly, this one is actually getting pretty bad. You can see here that it's split right across the top there. So this top piece is already a little iffy. These things can fragment, and then this mechanism can just stop working. Most likely, there is nothing holding the metal locking tab back. When it actually gets locked, there's nothing to hold it, so it just stays outwards. This bolt right here, if you see, that runs through the mechanism, this bolt is also what clamps this to the receptacle on the actual steering column. These things, although they're designed so that the top is this kind of flat, strange shape, and the bottom has the screw on it, I've seen poor mechanics put this bolt in backwards, and then what happens is the nut comes off the top, and then the whole bolt falls through. If this bolt is not present, you could have this bolt has a lot to do with engaging the mechanism to hold it in the retracted position. So it could be this bolt. Other than that, you could have a problem with your ignition switch. There's a lot of gears and weird arms and things that go through here that can get all cracked up, and it's not engaging something in the lower elbow. And you could also have something actually in your cylinder lock here, the actual tumbler, that has some issue where it's not turning correctly, and therefore the mechanical permutation that's allowing this entire thing to retract is not retracting. But again, you should be able to immediately, when you go to position 1, you should be able to immediately retract. You see how that retracted right there? And then it doesn't matter if you're in, other positions. There's position 2, position 3, ignition on. Doesn't matter. The first turn of the key is always the one that releases this lock. And when you pull the key out, that's when it fully extends, just like that. So this is a hard system to access. I would definitely recommend pulling the gauge cluster and also pulling the under the dash panel. Then you can kind of get to it from up top and down low. You have to remove this bolt. Once you remove that bolt, you have to remove this electrical connector. It's not too bad. It's kind of a specialty connector. You just pull or push a lever, and then this pushes out. And then you can at least take it out and try to see. I have a feeling, though, that something is broken here. Something is wrong with this bolt, and that this might be locked up. You can brick this. You can get it locked up to the point where you're not even going to be able to pull it off the steering column. In that case, there are 2 spring-loaded divots here on the side where you can at least pull off part of this and then try to get in to this and try to see if you can take it off. In the worst case scenarios, I've seen people actually have to cut this apart or drill it from this side and just take it out that way. But unfortunately, these things can be a real bitch if they're broken. So I would just take it slowly and try to see specifically what's going on. But I really think something is going on up here in terms of the actual housing and the lock mechanism. Hope this helps out.